thing to me was I make flashcards on everything. So I'll look at PowerPoints and notes and also the book and make flashcards based on that and quiz myself and quiz other people. And another thing I really like to do is study groups because they're really important. Just go to Panera or somebody's house or whatever and just quiz each other. That's really important. And then I also do the pre-lab exercises in the book because that really helps you to understand what you're going to learn in lab. And then also there's a Flickr website that they have for the lab class, and there's a lot of models on there that you can print off and learn from that, and that helps a lot.
Share.
Well, every night, either when I get off of work or when I get home from school, I try to spend like an hour either going to the library or finding a quiet place where I can just sit down and get on the computer and either go on the AMP. We have a study section where you can actually go on and, mix and match up the words and find what, matches, and those are really helpful. Or flipping through the book and looking at the pictures and the diagrams. I really like doing that. I think those are the best things.
For lecture, it's really important to compare the notes that you learn in class to the book, just to make sure that you have all the information. And then as soon as you know the information, make sure you write it on a note card so that you can study that, because that's the fastest way to memorize it, is to look at it, and then if you get it wrong, put it in a pile and go back over it later on. That's really important.
For lecture, I've been doing the modules, which, it's basically a memory game if you go in there and do it, but it actually helps you remember and refrain it actually better than learning it the hard way of reading a book, going through, I would say, quizzes or tests before you actually know what you're doing in the classroom.
I definitely would have liked to know that it's important to have a study group, because having other people to talk to and say, do you remember what the teacher said? What do you think I should be doing? There's different ways that people go about things, either using note cards, or maybe somebody's really good at, making little ways of connecting, ways to remember things. Some people are really good at that, like the little anecdotes and stuff. Those are really helpful.
Well, definitely the two that I would recommend the most is the study group and the note cards, because with a study group, there's different opinions that you can get from somebody, or say you have a definition of a word and somebody else has maybe an easier way to explain something, then you have two different ways to understand something, and you can bring the note cards with you to your study group, and it's a lot more fun to learn when you're learning with a friend than by yourself and sitting in your room or something.
Definitely your first semester coming in, you don't want to miss any classes. If you miss one class, you're missing so much information. You'll be so far behind, it will blow your mind. So make sure your attendance is 100%. I would also say that be focused. Make sure you're ready, prepared, and ready to learn something in class, because there's a lot of information. Some of this stuff will go right over your head. Ask questions as much as you can. These teachers are here to help you, so make sure you ask questions.
I would say, especially if you still live at home, like you have siblings or you're still living with your parents. I know I was the first few weeks of school, and it was so hard because it was loud. Finding a quiet place to study is huge, because if you're distracted, you're not going to remember anything that you're trying to read or look at. Actually going to the library and finding a really quiet place, or telling your family, hey, this is really important, or whoever you live with, hey, I need to go find a really quiet spot so I can really concentrate on this stuff, because it is really, deep, difficult stuff to get sometimes.
To get ready, I think the most important thing to me that I had the hardest time with was the bones. So the bones are going to reoccur a lot, so make sure that you're really familiarized with the bones. So, there's Quizlet that has quizzes on there all the time that you can just quiz yourself before you go to class. And also with the cell, because, there's nerve cells and muscle cells and all different kinds of cells, so make sure that you know the basic understanding of the cell and the mitochondria and all that stuff, because that's going to come up a lot. And if you can take a class that will help you prepare, I took anatomy in high school, so that's why I'm doing really well. So that might not be for everyone, because a lot of people are already out of high school, but just from using the internet to familiarize yourself, or get the book in advance and look over the book before you take the class.
Some future tips for the AP students, I would say, was the thing that I should have done is first day of class, form a study group. That will actually help you in the long run because different people have different views and tips and pointers that can help you while you're studying through the class or the semester. So study group, I would say, is very important to have.